This is Nightline.
Tonight, the latest in the Idaho college murders.
911 location of your emergency. Something is happening.
Inside the courtroom battle over evidence, horrific slayings that captivated the country.
Over 13,000 photographs, hundreds of hours of videotape.
Lawyers from both sides squaring off.
We saw defense attorneys and prosecutors in a bare-knuckle legal brawl.
In the case against Brian Kohberger, the criminology PhD student accused of stabbing to death 4 friends and housemates. His lawyers say he's not guilty.
Make no mistake, these murders, whoever committed them, were brutal.
Could some key evidence be kept from the jury? Plus, Jason Isaac.
We're not supposed to tell my family. We're poor now, and Daddy's going to prison.
One-on-one with the White Lotus star, riding the wave of the show everyone's talking about.
I've never experienced something like it. I was in the Harry Potter films.
We meet at last.
The Patriot star.
It's an ugly business, doing one's duty.
Opening up about his character's wild ride.
I think he had the worst holiday that anyone's had in the history of holidays. Should really get his money back.
Spilling the tea on the secrets from the set.
So, which of your fellow Cage members did you bond with the most?
Plus, the Titanic, as you've never seen it. The remarkable new 3D images.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, heated arguments in the quadruple murder case that has horrified the nation. Brian Kohberger in court, charged with fatally stabbing 4 friends and college roommates in their off-campus home. His lawyers say he didn't do it, sparring with prosecutors today over what should and shouldn't be presented to a jury. Here's ABC's Kenan Whitworth.
Make no mistake, these murders, whoever committed them, were brutal.
In a blistering back and forth, prosecutors and defense attorneys not giving up an inch.
We believe that it is imperative that we have an order to prevent the case being tried in a way that presents inflammatory evidence and appeals to emotions for the jury.
In the defendant's filings, he doesn't specify what inflammatory evidence he's concerned about. The words just seem to be used loosely and freely here.
Today, we saw defense attorneys and prosecutors in a bare-knuckle legal brawl.
The judge today hearing arguments from both sides on what evidence should be presented to the jury when the trial begins this summer.
There are over 13,000 photographs, hundreds of hours of videotape.
In a case that has gripped the nation.
This is really one of those parents' worst nightmare kind of cases. You have 4 sets of parents who sent their children off to the University of Idaho in a low-crime area, and those children never came home.
Brian Kohberger is accused of stabbing 4 college students to death. Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin in a now demolished off-campus home. Kohberger's attorneys say he's innocent, reminding the court he still has allies.
His family loves him and supports him, and that he is absolutely dependent on them, having been in isolation for almost 2.5 years.
But the families of the victims are searching for justice. Christy and Steve Gonzalez are Kaylee's parents.
In the end, we really want who's guilty of this to be held responsible.
And we think we've got that person ready to pin down.
Among the key evidence for prosecutors is Kohberger's Amazon purchase history, which the defense says is an account shared by his whole family.
The argument about the Amazon purchase is that that was prior to November 13th, 2022, for the purpose of making a plan.
Prosecutors say Kohberger purchased a K-bar knife like this from Amazon, along with a sharpener and a sheath. The murder weapon was never found, but a sheath containing Kohberger's DNA was found at the murder scene, according to prosecutors.
Remember, the prosecution does not have the murder weapon, so they need to build a circumstantial case.
The defense is pushing back and saying that everyone had access to this Amazon account and that anyone within that home could have purchased that knife.
Also on the table, text messages from the surviving roommates, witness descriptions, and testimony about DNA. In the 2.5 years since the story broke, information has slowly dripped out, giving more clues and insights as to what may have happened to those 4 students in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022.
911 location of your emergency. Something is happening.
Last month, chilling new audio obtained by ABC News of a surviving roommate calling 911, what turned out to be nearly 8 hours after their 4 friends were stabbed to death.
This happened in our house. We don't know what. What is the address of the emergency? 1122.
One of 2 surviving roommates is on the line, standing in the driveway, terrified and sobbing as she passes the phone to a neighbor who just arrived.
One of the roommates is passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up. Okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
The roommate is then heard again, pleading with the dispatcher.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much? What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now? I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m. Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out? Yeah, I'll come. Come on, we gotta go check. But we have to.
You can hear the young woman coaxing her roommate to go back into that house, and they make their way inside.
She's not waking up.
You can hear the anguish. The judge signaling he'll likely allow much of it to be played at trial.
Do you think that the surviving roommates were under the stress of the immediate events?
We know that it is a harrowing type of call. The defense has also raised issues about the credibility of the surviving roommates. Why was there such a delay in them phoning 911? It's hours from the time that there was some recognition that something bad was going on inside the house.
Previous court filings also include this 12-page paper Kohberger allegedly wrote in 2020 at DeSales University, where he was earning his master's in criminal justice. Kohberger describing how he'd investigate a deadly crime scene, reminding himself to avoid contaminating the scene with latent fingerprints. And of the hypothetical female victim, the paper asks, are there multiple stab wounds? And theorizes, is there any sign of forced entry to the home? If there is not, it may be suggested that the woman knew her killer. The defense in court today pushing back.
Well, when in the self-authenticating pleading that the state filed about the DeSales document, they indicated that that shows that he has knowledge of cleaning up a crime scene. So our position is that we don't want to make sure that there's not some sort of in-run.
For prosecutors, they're hoping to be able to present this information to infer some sort of knowledge on Brian Kohberger that he could commit a crime without leaving trace DNA or any forms of fingerprint behind. But for the defense, they're making the point that this is homework, that simply studying a concept doesn't mean that the lack of evidence at the scene points to Brian Kohberger being the suspect or the murderer in this case.
There have also been transcripts released showing the time-stamped text messages between the 2 survivors after one told authorities she saw a man clad in black in the home at the time of the murders. The filing reveals she tried unsuccessfully to reach the victims, but then made contact with the other surviving roommate on the first floor. Between 4:22 and 4:24 a.m., the surviving roommates text each other, "I'm freaking out right now." No, it's like a ski mask almost. The survivor on the first floor texting back, "Run, down here." It's unclear what happened next, but about 6 hours later, one of the survivors tries but can't reach the victim's phone by text. Texting Kaylee, "Please answer." Texting Madison, "Are you up?" And just before noon, more than 7 hours after the murders, that 911 call is made. The prosecution wanting to show the jury select exchanges during the time of the murders, but defense attorneys argue that's not the whole picture and say the entirety of the surviving roommate's cell phone data should be entered into evidence, showing she was on social media as early as 7:30 a.m.
Mr. Kohberger sits here today. He's innocent.
Kohberger's family wasn't at the proceeding today, but are expected to be there for the trial this summer.
His family being there, yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, there's 2 ways of looking at a victim. And if their son's accused of this and we find him guilty, then to me they're not victims at that point. So they can't be treated the same as somebody who lost their child.
Yeah.
You just can't.
I mean, if they lose him to the prison system, you know, being locked away for the rest of his life, they could still write him. They could still talk to him.
Our thanks to Kana. When we come back, we're with the White Lotus star Jason Isaacs on this show everyone's obsessed with. And oh, if you're one of the few people who missed the finale, we won't be spoiling it for you.
I couldn't ask for a more perfect family. We've had a perfect life, haven't we? No privations, no suffering, no trauma. And my job is to keep all that from you, to keep you safe.
It's the season finale of The White Lotus, the show everyone is still talking about. That scene starring Jason Isaacs as the drugged-out, desperate dad. Here's ABC's Rhiannon Alley.
Thanks, Byron. And we want to welcome Jason Isaacs here to Nightline. Welcome.
That's a very sad scene.
Yes.
I don't want to bring the conversation down before we even start, but when I see that scene, it just reminds me of, it was an unpleasant day for me.
This show certainly had its ups and downs. For your character,
Sure, no,
especially.
I think he had the worst holiday that anyone's had in the history of holidays. Should really get his money back. Yeah, I mean, I had a wonderful time making it, obviously, and there was lots of fun to be had, but he's in a terrible, terrible state for almost all of the holiday. But he does have this massive kind of Damascene spiritual enlightenment, you know, because kind of epiphany, and leaves relieved in many ways. Although his life's fallen apart, in some ways, he's so humbled and ready to embrace his fate. There's something rather beautiful about Tim's journey, I think.
What has the frenzy been like?
I've never experienced something like it. I was in the Harry Potter films. Everywhere we've been, myself and all the other actors have been all over the world talking about it and listening and seeing how much it's just caught the zeitgeist. It's been remarkable.
And your character, his journey was beautiful in its own way.
Yeah, it was horrendous. It was very, very dark and very lonely. I mean, he was very lonely. Look, I'm pretending, but I'm pretending as best I can with all of my heart and all of my imagination. And what was tricky is doing it all with no words and praying, hoping that we could help the audience to know what was going on for me, because otherwise I could just look like that idiot falling asleep all the time.
Well, you did such a remarkable job, because as you mentioned, so many of those scenes didn't have any dialogue.
Well, he wasn't going to share it. The whole point of his terrible existential dilemma is he's all about the fact that he's the patriarch and he's the leader, he's an alpha. And the shame, the crippling shame of having let everyone down made him think it would be better to be dead and better off each member of his family when they said that they couldn't cope either to be dead. And that.
Okay, so he spent so much of the show contemplating death and even what life would be like if they did lose it all. So we want to share a clip now of that struggle.
What if we lost everything?
We're not going to lose everything.
No.
No. And if we did, honestly, I don't know if I'd want to live.
Why would you say that?
Oh, you can see the heartbreak there in that scene.
Because he believes it. He looks at Victoria. She's lost herself a long time ago to drugs and to this obsession with being better than other people. And he thinks she will be better off just not facing any of it and dying. But that's why I love so much the moment on the boat. Spoiler, horrible spoiler if you haven't watched. I'm so sorry about this entire interview. But being on the boat at the end and looking and realizing it's going to be hard for her, but actually it's the best thing that could happen to her. He thinks in that moment she'll find herself again if she gets rid of all of the obsession.
What do you think happens to this family that we don't see? Because that's one part. Does he go to prison?
Do rich people go to prison anymore? I'm not sure. I think he probably should go to prison and will go to prison. He'll at least get a bed and food. The rest of them are going to have to, they're in a whole new world. They're going to have to make it for themselves. But actually, of course, that's what all my kids need in that show. That the one thing I've failed them to do is prepare them for the world, and it will be the best thing that happens to them. Sure. Victoria, I don't know. She's going to be folding T-shirts in Gap. I don't see it myself.
Speaking of Victoria, Parker Posey, so much has been talked about with both of your accents in this show. What was it like working with her as a scene partner?
Well, the weird thing is they don't connect at all.
Are you hearing this?
Tim and Victoria, when we get there, she's drugged out of her mind. And then I am so isolated and alone and can't talk to her and can't share anything with her that it was an odd thing, because obviously we're in the scenes together. But we don't see each other. We don't hear each other. We can't talk to each other. So it's an odd thing. The accents is great because listening to her, I was trying not to listen to her because she's doing this genius comic creation, which is kind of grotesque perversion of the accent.
But you're not a Buddhist.
I was trying to be very specifically Durham, North Carolina. And I was trying not to listen to Parker because, you know, it works for her, but it wouldn't have worked if I spoke like her.
Yeah. And you've said that filming in Thailand for months, I love this quote, was like Lord of the Flies in a gilded cage. Yeah. So which of your fellow cage members did you bond with the most? I was thinking, who do we stick the pigs with? Well, my kids. You know, we got there initially, and the place that you see mostly in the show is the Four Seasons in Koh Samui, this amazing resort. And because we took it all over, because you can't have paying guests there while they can't use the pool or the restaurant, they held these giant empty villas, billionaires' villas. And I was given one. I had this huge villa with a separate bedroom villa and a butler and a full-size swimming pool, but it was very lonely. And my kids came over. Patrick, Sam, and Sarah Catherine took care of me. They adopted me, and we became very close. And I ended up falling in love with them off-screen as much as on-screen. We played cards, we watched movies, we took out boat rides and stuff. And you film with your family group all the time. So I filmed with them, still talking to each other every day. I was going to say, you still post pictures.
I'm enjoying them having this first flush of fame for themselves. They allow me to tell them to enjoy the journey, there's no destination, and to take a job soon and remember that our job is acting and not endorsements, whatever. They're all pretty sound and fabulous people.
And you've gotten kind of this wholesome reaction from fans.
There's a lot of reaction from fans across the entire spectrum about everything.
And you say you read everything.
I only read every single word on the internet. I do. I'm a bit of an insomniac. And I'm curious. I've never been involved in something like this bizarre phenomenon that's penetrated the zeitgeist. And really, you know, the actors get a lot of attention. It's a tribute. There's only one Mike White in the world. And he has an imagination like no other. And he does the work like no other. And all those characters are so perfectly uniquely defined. And it's been interesting watching people's insane and completely incorrect theories about both what should happen in the show and what happened between us when we're in Thailand, which shall, of course, stay in Thailand.
All right. Well, we look forward to talking to you again. Jason Isaacs, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Byron.
Rhiannon, thank you. When we come back, new three-dimensional images showing the Titanic as you've never seen it. Could new technology shed new light? Finally tonight, the incredible new 3D images of the Titanic.
Wow.
Using a remote control camera to scan the sunken ship from all angles.
Wow, here it goes.
The new Nat Geo special called Titanic, the digital resurrection from ABC's parent company, Disney, reconstructing a minute-by-minute timeline.
The time it took for a Titanic to collide with the iceberg was 6.3 seconds.
The resulting construction of a full-size 3D rendering of the wreckage could help solve some of the Titanic's tragic mysteries. The special premieres Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern on National Geographic, then streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. And that's Nightline for this evening. We'll see you right back here same time tomorrow. Thanks for the company, America. Good night.